a lot. Okay. If someone had told my next guest 10 years ago that she would be one of the most photographed and recognisable faces in Ireland, she would have laughed at the very idea. Back then, she was a size 20 and weighed 15 stone. But now, she's a regular on breakfast TV, both at home and in the UK, and her star continues to rise. Would you welcome, please, stylist Lisa Fitzpatrick, ladies and gentlemen. Wasn't that great fun? That
fab! Yeah, I'm dancing backstage.
Yeah,
we've got a groove going back on there.
It's great
We're
to
all
see
dancing. Great to be here, thank you. This is an ultimate dream for me. I have always wanted to be on the Late Late Show.
Ah, God.
I've ticked that box.
That's
and
great.
I am so happy.
It's a pleasure to have you here. It's a pleasure to have you here. And I think your mum's here tonight as well.
She is.
Your husband's
my
here,
mum,
Paul's
my
here.
sisters.
And your sisters, and the whole gang. There was a minibus all pulled up. Listen, I mentioned that in the introduction, because we know you as this very svelte and beautiful woman, and it wasn't always thus. You had a few, you had a weight issue at one point. But when was that and what happened?
Well, at 25, I was slim and fit and healthy. And then I fell in love with my husband, who's here, who I'm still in love with 17 years later.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. And I suppose for me, the journey started where I was eating out in restaurants. We'd no responsibilities. We were getting takeaways. We were drinking all of the time. Yeah. And I started to grow and grow and grow. And I actually didn't realise it. And my husband didn't either.
Yeah.
And if people say, do you remember Lisa in this photo? He'll say, Shallow Hal, the movie. No, I don't. And, I don't blame him because I don't really remember myself back then. I do remember I had lots of shoes, lots of handbags and lots of scarves because I'd one dress that fit. And back then, 10 years ago, there wasn't the variety of clothes now that there are for larger women. And I suppose then it was kind of awkward. I was wearing old-fashioned style clothes. And that was me at my 30th birthday. And, I'm probably eating and eating and drinking. And, I did really grow up. Now, I loved my boobs then.
I bet you did.
That's the only thing I missed. They were fabulous. And Paul loved them too. But I must say...
Was Paul feeding you to keep
Paul
that going?
was a bit of a feeder now, I must say. Yeah, absolutely.
No, so that was one of the benefits, obviously, of having the few pounds.
That was delicious. I mean, they're fabulous. I was looking in the mirror thinking, wow, now I'm wearing 5 padded bras to try make them look anyway decent. But the thing is, I always say to women, work your good areas and hide your bad. We all have our dodgy bits. We all have our bad areas. We all have, and actually, we're all quite hard on ourselves, really.
Okay, let's talk a bit about Paul, and how you met Paul and what happened.
Well, I met Paul and I had another boyfriend at the time, actually, and I kind of dated them both for a month. I was with Paul and we did spend our time having fun and eating. And, we just had we had a good time. And I suppose, fast forward, when I turned, 30, my defining moment for me was... I was 30 and I was at my own party and everybody looked beautiful except for me because I really didn't feel... I felt at that point I was starting to lose my confidence a bit.
So self-esteem was becoming an issue then a little bit, was it?
It was. And, I probably always suffered with really low self-esteem because I didn't go to college and I always felt inadequate around people. And especially meeting somebody like Paul, who at the time was 11 years older. So we were going out and Paul's in the hospitality.
He's still 11 years older, which is weird. but we'll get to that in a second. But with Paul is part of the Fitzpatrick's hotels that people will know down through the years as a family. So he was well able for the glad handle and the hello, and that's part of his job. So you were brought into that world, I presume, then.
I was,
and you had to wine and dine clients and so forth. And where does the college thing come into play?
Well, I suppose I was meeting really bright, fabulous, educated people. And I used to be like motor mouth, talking for Ireland to feel like I had to get a conversation across. And then sometimes I'd go home and think, what were they talking about? And there were moments where I just felt... I did feel inadequate. I used to get a rash on my neck walking into a room. And that kind of, Paul never made me feel like that. And his father God rest him, Paddy trained me well. He'd send me to one half of the room and say, go talk to that room.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed meeting people. But there definitely were moments when I just felt, I won't say where I'm from, I won't say I didn't go to college, and I would overthink things in my head. But it really was my own insecurities.
Okay, tell me a little bit about there's an 11-year age gap between you and Paul. Is that in any way relevant?
I've never seen the difference, ever.
Yeah.
You know, I really haven't. And Paul's my best friend, and I've learned a lot from him, and he really is my backbone.
Good.
And I think if you surround yourself with like-minded, positive people, which I do, which is the circle of good people around me today, you know, I just feel very, very lucky to have people in my life. And, you know, it's like I have these dreams, and I say, you make dreams, but you have to action them to make them a reality. And Noel Kelly, Niamh Kieran, NK Management, they make my dreams come true.
Good.
They're good people who mind you. And that's what I've done. Years ago, if people were talking about me, Ryan, I would feel really, what are they saying about me? Now, if somebody I love had something negative to say, I'd be really upset. But if somebody has something negative to say, I've no interest. It doesn't faze me. It doesn't affect me. So I definitely have gained my confidence. I've got my mojo back. I feel good.
Because you're in the book that you're giving advice in and so forth, you talk about having Sophie, your little girl, and how that had an effect on you as well, because physically and I suppose psychologically as well.
Well, you know, my sisters have children, and I've always minded their kids. I loved babysitting. I was the one that would come home from 2 jobs. I'd get the bus from working in a shop in Rathmines, 2 buses home to babysit my niece and get up and do the night feeds, because I always dreamt of being a mother. So when I became a mother and I had Sophie, towards the end of my pregnancy, I got preeclampsia, and I really blamed myself because I was bigger, and that wasn't the case at all, because I got it second time round and I was slimmer. But I do remember, and I had just started to work out with Dominic Manelli, who really helped me and took me on this journey. But I remember walking to Cabinteely Park on my own, and I'm pushing Sophie, and I get there and I see all of these women with peps in their steps, and I'm seeing people, and I'm sitting on the chair like this. My face is purple. I'm soaking wet. I'm thinking, can someone call 999? Because I'm actually just exhausted. And then fast forward to that evening, I had a rash on my legs because my legs were so big and they were so sweaty. They were rubbing off each other that I had to actually put talcum powder on my legs. And I just thought, this has to stop. I need to just stop. I need to be healthy. I need to be fit. I need Sophie to be proud of me. And that was my moment.
And that was the change.
Which was actually very emotional. And the journey writing the book was emotional because the first style book I did was upbeat in fashion. And writing this, I didn't realise the place I was in. So writing Diet SOS to me was my journey, my personal story, and it was from my heart. And
it felt good writing it, probably.
It did,
it's kind of therapeutic, isn't it, writing?
It is, but you know what? I still meet women that I can say, I could dress everybody in the audience only because I've been every shape and size of everybody in the audience. So it does help, and it has its advantages.
You're not afraid to talk about the menopause. You're very young, I presume, to be talking about the menopause because you're going through it, right?
It was a nice 40th birthday present, all right?
What happened?
I must say, I had a couple of cysts removed. Thank God they were benign, and I was very lucky. But the third time I got my ovary removed, so kind of about 6 months later, my 40th birthday, I'm thinking this is all excited. And my sister noticed it first. And we'd do Thelma and Louise and drive around the country doing gigs. And, I love it. And we're in the car and she said, I think you're getting the menopause. And she's older than me. And both sisters are and don't have it. I'll name and shame. But, I must say, I will. Christine was right, and she noticed it. I went and got blood tests, and they said you were full blown. And because of my position and the job I'm in, I remember presenting the Miss Universe Ireland for Andrea Roach Model Agency, and I stood up on that stage with Alan Hughes, and I said, Alan, you have sisters, and I'm going to share with you. If I don't come on at any point to interview a girl, it's because I can't, because I'm soaking wet, I'm rash, I'm going through the tropical moment or the hot blush or whatever you want to call it. And he was really good to me. But I remember interviewing Adrian Rock, who won, and I looked up at the screen and thought, oh my God, is that me? I was just absolutely drenched. Ran into the hotel room to dry off. And, now I'm fine. I mean, if women come into the fitting room, I can turn the air conditioning on. Well, it's usually on for me anyway. So, I understand. And all of these things in life, obstacles I go through, I'm so strong now that I can hurdle any obstacle. I will get through anything, and I've great strength, and I just believe in myself. And I actually like myself. I have learned to look in the mirror and like what's looking back, not in a way of, oh, hair and makeup, because I had white skin and freckles an hour ago before I got painted. So it isn't even about that. I just feel with age, with being a mother, I have a group of people I love madly, and I feel good.
Good. And like when you think about the it's funny. I think people would love that sunny disposition, because there are probably a lot of people with the menopause at home on the couch going, oh, I feel like I feel awful. I wish I was. So they're probably wondering, how did you do it? How did you get your head around it to be so positive?
Well, you know, I remember going into Dr. Peter Boylan, who delivered both babies, and I sat with him and I said, okay, I have it. And I said, well, what can I do? And he gave me my options, and I said, great, I'll take HRT, that'll suit me. Yeah. And that's what I do. And, you know, it's a little pill beside my toothbrush. I never forget to take it. And it reminds me, and I do it.
And is it the only pill beside your toothbrush?
If I see a woman going through it, I can... It's the only pill beside. Actually, that was another thing. The moment I found out about menopause, I actually thought, I can't have any more children. But I never wanted any. But psychologically, I'm thinking, I can't have any more
children. It's
children.
Another layer.
I mean, we didn't want them. We've 2 beautiful children, thank God, and happy and healthy and very good children. But I bought a puppy instead. So... We have little Snowy is at home, my baby.
He does the job.
But yeah, he works.
So what's your ultimate tip? Is it possible to give one to people who don't have the confidence, feel a bit undermined by the world, life, job, money, everything else? What do you say to them to pick themselves up?
Well, you've got to stop surrounding yourself with people that are negative.
Yeah.
You've got to take yourself away from that. And you really have to write down your goals, like the Late Late Show for me, I'm very excited. Yeah. But write down your dreams. Write down your goals. It feels good to scratch them off. You know, even in terms of health, I had the worst diet and it made me feel lethargic. It made me feel bloated. If I eat a big bowl of arrabbiata, I feel like, oh, I got it on my zip, I can't cope, and oh my God. And that's how it makes me feel. So I don't want to feel like that. Yeah. So I've changed the way I feel. And I think for women and men and people out there who have lost their way, it's just find what works for you and, you know, feel good about yourself and stand tall, because it helps you lose a couple of pounds. You know, if you're sitting like this, you've lost a few pounds. You're sitting like that, you look like that. So it is all about that. It's about learning. And I've
suddenly
learned,
a load of people in the audience started going...
I see them all sitting up.
So she's right,
They're all doing little shimmies.
She's absolutely right. Everyone there would show. It's been lovely to have you on the programme for your first time and not the last. Lisa Fitzpatrick, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. Lisa's book is called Diet SOS. It is in shops now. Let's see who